Yeah, we are here at the IUCN headquarters, working together with 15 NGOs or civil society organizations to really improve our system. So it's really meeting the demands of civil society, and that it aligns with all the work that has been done by WWF, by IUCN, Birdlife, etc.
Ultimately, we want buy-in just not from industry. We need to have agreement from civil society that the scheme holds water. It's worth its weight. It has merit, and that it's not greenwashing. It's not simply something put together to give false hope. It's to provide credibility to the companies that are claiming to be sustainable. Um, yeah, that's the hope.
I would say the outcome is to make sure that we have a scheme that covers all of the potential issues. Obviously, we've been working on this for a couple of years just as industry, and it's important then to have civil society's view to make sure that we captured all the particularly environmental and social issues. And in that regard, it has been an interesting couple of days, challenging. They've brought a lot of new ideas, but many of them, I think, can be implemented and will make our scheme more credible and more rigorous in general. The ideal case would be that civil society organizations would endorse and support the scheme, which would really give it credibility and would make sure that all of the hot topics are being covered in the scheme.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to speak for industry, and I don't know what their desired outcome is, but I think ours is very much like what I just talked about. You don't have to get everything right the first time, but you have to have a model or a template in place to be able to improve your performance or measure your performance against your peers. And to me, this is a great opportunity to do that. There's not really been a way for the public to judge that progress. It could be done, I guess, within the industry, and everybody knows who's doing better than others and so on. But that information is not publicly made. And so this is a way to put peer pressure and also public pressure on industries that are not, on players that are not as good as others. And this is very helpful. And so I think the aim is to provide, as I said, at least some kind of baseline for minimum performance, but to raise that over time so that everybody's got a platinum level plan eventually. That is my goal, right, is to make sure that everybody's who has to live with one of these facilities in their area is protected as best they can. And the idea of protection changes over time. The idea of what was safe 20 or 30 years ago in terms of exposure to things is very, very different than it is now. And so you have to have a system that takes that into account, whether it's regulatory, industrial practices or whatever, or all of those combined. You have to keep up with changes in science and so forth. And so for me, the goal is to put in practice a way to have that happen in the concrete and cement industry.
Okay, well, Birdlife is a biodiversity and sustainability focused organisation. So from our perspective, I think having sound standards around safeguards and protection for species and ecosystems is fundamental. And we are obviously very involved in the advocating for the sustainability of different companies in different sectors, and we see that this has the potential to elevate the performance in terms of biodiversity conservation, in terms of restoring quarries back to nature, in terms of avoiding impacts on highly susceptible species to these kind of activities, but I think at the same time to drive change in some of these other bigger sustainability questions around the sector's impact on the global climate, on water use, and a lot of the sustainability issues that the scheme currently seeks to address. And I think yeah, those are some of the key things I think it should